All right. I was kind of having a quick little bite. All right, all right. So let's see. Can I turn it? It doesn't go. Darn it, it won't let me go horizontal. But let's see. Can I back it up and zoom in? Here we go. This is the home page on the Zersetzung.org website. And they got some very good information. Unfortunately, this video does not play, but just this little bit of a few paragraphs right here. Hey, what's going on? I'm going to go ahead and just read these paragraphs. They got some great information. And it just like hits everything on the nail on the head. You know what I'm saying? Like just perfect. Just pardon me one sec. I'm gonna. Chili was kind of hot that I had. I'm gonna have to blow my nose real quick before I get started. Pardon me. I don't know if anyone else out there likes sriracha. I'm a big sriracha fan. I put that on everything. So anyways, here we go. I'm just going to start reading this right here, and let's get to it. You won't see this on Fox News. Sometime during the early or mid 20th century, scientists working for the military-industrial complex perfected an application of neurotechnology that allowed the encoding and decoding of human brain activity. The technology made it possible to identify what a person was thinking, feeling, seeing, or hearing. I'll read that one more time because that kind of... Oh, one sec. Let me turn off my stove real quick, guys. Okay, here we go. I just had it on low. So, like I said, the technology made it possible to identify what a person was thinking, feeling, seeing, or hearing. So with that said, basically, I guess everything that people have been speculating is correct. That they can, so to speak, see through our eyes. Isn't that crazy? It also allowed those same functions to be artificially controlled. Thoughts, sounds, visions, and even dreams could be artificially introduced directly into the human mind through technological means, regardless of whether the subject was awake or asleep. Wow. Human speech and muscular action could be involuntarily controlled. Wow, so if you guys have ever experienced randomly like your arm just flinching or the twitches randomly on your body, it could be part of this. Subjects of this technology would not be consciously aware of what was happening. Individuals whose brain centers are electrically stimulated believe their evoked actions are their own ideas. Their conscious mind rationalizes the evoked actions away. People experiencing this electrical stimulation aren't consciously aware of an external influence. So, talk about really trying to make a person go crazy, gaslighting them. Leaders at the highest levels of authority, cognizant of the military significance of the technology, assigned it a high level of classification and determined to keep its existence secret for as long as possible. This all occurred at a time long before civilians ever dreamed of having cable television, cellular phones, or personal computers. So this really goes to show this thing has been going on for quite some time, right? This technology. Let me read that one more time. This all occurred at a time long before civilians ever dreamed of having cable television, cellular phones, or personal computers. So imagine now what they're capable of. I mean, we're talking nano level, guys. Nano's the latest thing. And for all we know, there may be something beyond nano that hasn't been released or whistle blown just yet. And there very well could be something like that. Here we go. Political military power on the planet was consolidated to a high degree, but the forms of existing national governments were deliberately preserved in order to prevent civil unrest. At some point, development of neurotechnology reached a point where it could be implanted into the human brain with a high degree of precision and efficiency. Electrodes thinner than a human hair could be pushed directly through the skull into the brain without surgery. Let me read that one more time. I don't have a highlighter. Electrodes thinner than a human hair could be pushed directly through the skull into the human brain without surgery. Wireless data communication technology operating on principles analogous, that's a tough one for me, analogous to that of today's smartphones allowed it to be controlled remotely. Wow. As we continue, someone decided that the technology should be mass implanted into large numbers of civilians under conditions of absolute secrecy. A program of classified military black operations was put into operation to accomplish this goal no later than the 1970s or 1980s. In order to prevent the public from becoming aware of this or victims from understanding what was happening to them, numerous disinformation operations were implemented. State-controlled channels of ostensibly private mass communication, example given, newspapers, television, paperback books, began promoting stories about alien abduction. The medical psychiatric industry, also by this time effectively an arm of the state, purposefully defined the symptoms likely to be reported by neurotechnology subjects as official diagnostic criteria for psychotic disorders. Example given, schizophrenia. And then it says here, see weaponized psychiatry. And I think I'm going to have to make this multi-part live series to go through the many different topics on this website. There's some really good information in here. I've just started to skim a bit more of this website, and I was surprised with what's in here. But anyways, let's get on. These tactics were used to marginalize subjects who realized something was wrong in their lives and spoke out. Many were labeled mentally ill or demonized as criminals or sex offenders. I would have to say that's part of like the slander campaign, right? That's probably how they even get our families to hate us, saying stupid stuff to them like that. Anyways, large numbers of people, including small children, have now been implanted without their knowledge or consent. And you know what? I'm not saying I have it, but I've been through surgery 2 times. So there's a chance I actually have it. But then again, maybe not. Hopefully not. In the 21st century, Western governments have begun to discard long existing protections of individual rights and liberties. A substantial portion of the civilian population has been recruited through various programs and is complicit. These people, recruited from all strata of society, have sold out their fellow human beings in exchange for jobs, false promises of security or safety, and the adventure of being on the front lines of a fictitious domestic war. Their participation, silence, and obedience makes possible the systematic dismantling of protections for individual rights. Many are unable to refuse due to high credible threats of physical torture made possible by implanted technology. At a certain point in time, they will no longer be necessary to the state, and their special privileges will be revoked. Let's read that one more time if we have any perps in the chat. At a certain point in time, they, example given, perps, gang stalkers, surveillance agents, will no longer be necessary to the state, and their special privileges will be revoked. Some may face far worse consequences because by their very participation, they have demonstrated they cannot be trusted. The state will have no loyalty to them once their usefulness has run out. You hear that, perps? That's right, karma. It's around the corner. Hang on there, guys. Just hang tight. Come on. I've been feeling it. It's around the corner. And especially for some of you TIs that have been going through this for 10, 15, 20 years. Because let's face it, since the Patriot Act, this thing's gone on steroids. I guarantee it. Since the Patriot Act, this is just gone ludicrous. Whew, here we go. Today, governments covertly sponsor internet-based alternative news websites in order to identify and provide guidance to would-be resistors. These websites operate by providing truthful information about government atrocities, which is not offered by the mainstream news media. This practice leads the audience to believe that they have found a source of independent truth. The websites lead the audience astray by mixing in a variety of falsehood disinformation along with the true information. As a result, many otherwise independent thinkers can be led to believe that they have woken up when in reality they have been suckered into believing a variety of new age, occult, or other disinformation topics. I'm going to click on that real quick. It says right here, common disinformation themes. Let's just see where it takes us real quick. Yeah, I told you this website is deep. Just look at the scroller down here. Look at that up there. See that? You see what I'm talking about? there's a lot on this website to break down. And some from what I've seen so far, skimming through it, there's some really good information on here, guys, for real. All right. Let's just see, for example, let me just read this part right here because it caught my attention. Gang stalking. The primary cover story for modern Zersetzung, the covert neutralization of internal state enemies by clandestine agencies. Organized gang or cause stalking falsely attributed to private parties, such as gangs, which I would even say extends to cartel members, because I've had cartel members messing with me, trying to intimidate me, terrorist cells, vigilantes, fusion centers, neighborhood watch or other civilian watchdog groups, cults, mafia, collection agencies, corporations. Objective is to prevent the mass population from correctly identifying clandestine state internal security services as responsible parties by means of flooding the internet with a smokescreen of disinformation. Yeah, I'm going to have to come to that one at another time. Back on topic here. So, to the homepage. Here we go. A key point of disinformation is that the complicit citizens discussed above, frequently referred to as perps, are personally responsible for mind control abuses using microwave or directed energy weapons. The complicit citizens exist, but I contend that they are almost certainly not directly responsible for physical mind control. Rather, they serve other purposes, such as harassment in the form of gaslighting and street theater tactics, designed to elicit a response from the target which will support his or her diagnosis with a psychiatric disorder. Oh, wow, look at that. There's, right there it says, C, tricking targets into exhibiting the signs of mental illness. I'll have to come back to that. Single acts of tyranny may be ascribed to the accidental opinion of a day, but a series of oppressions begun at a distinguished period and pursued unalterably through every change of ministers to plainly prove a deliberate systematical plan of reducing us to slavery. No wonder why it read so weird. It was Thomas Jefferson from 1774. They spoke a lot differently back then, huh? Okay, about this website. Yeah, I'll just get right into that. This website contains original research materials and news items that everyone on the planet needs to know about, but which you probably won't find elsewhere. The material shown on the front page serves as a good introduction to what you will find on the rest of the website. The subjects discussed above are dealt with in a far greater level of detail in various articles and exhibits you will find on this site. The main menu at the top of the screen, okay, will take you to the various sections of the website, which are organized by subject matter. Additionally, when viewing articles from a particular section, you will often see an index of other articles from that same section prominently displayed on the right column. Okay, so all those blue links to the right of the screen. On the right column, you will also find a list of the most recently updated articles from all sections under the heading Latest News. I encourage you to make offline backup copies of this website in case it goes down, and to use the information as a basis for your own research and education. I'm just checking the dates real quick to see what's the most recent date, because last date posted on here is October 4th, 2022. Wow. Been a while, guys. Three years. What is Zersetzung? Zersetzung is a German word referring to a special tactic used by the East German secret police, Stasi, against internal enemies of the state. As historian Hubertus Nabe explained, the net of spies was really broad. In nearly every institution, even in the churches or in West Germany, there were many of them. I remember telling a leading Stasi officer, if you had sent an informant to me, I would surely have recognized him. His answer was, we didn't send anyone. We took those who are around you. And in fact, two of my best friends reported about me to the Stasi. Not only in my case, informers were very close. For example, Vera Langsfeld, another leading dissident, in her case, it was her husband who spied on her. A famous writer was betrayed by his brother. This reminds me of the novel 1984 by George Orwell, where the only apparently trustable person was an informer. Wow. The East Germans knew, of course, that they were surrounded by informers in a totalitarian regime that created mistrust and a state of widespread fear. The most important tools to oppress people in any dictatorship. Is that what we are now? We're a dictatorship, not a democracy? That's why not many East Germans tried to fight against the communist regime. If they did, the Stasi often used a method which was really diabolical. It was called Zersetzung. You could say that again. This is diabolical. The word is difficult to translate because it means originally biodegradation. But actually, it's a quite accurate description. The goal was to destroy secretly the self-confidence of people. For example, by damaging their reputation, by organizing failures in their work, and by destroying their personal relationships. As in my situation, my family sold me out, guys. Considering this, East Germany was a very modern dictatorship. The Stasi didn't try to arrest every dissident. It preferred to paralyze them. And it could do so because it had an access to so much personal information and to so many institutions. Detaining someone was used only as a last resort. I need to take a quick drink. Ooh, yeah, I was getting parched. Here we go. Let's see what else we got here. Some articles. I posted this earlier in my post section. CIA is a secret government involved in domestic assassinations. Ron Paul, and everyone knows Ron Paul. This was dated on June 2nd, 2015. Let's see what it says here. Former U.S. Congressman and presidential candidate Ron Paul has said that the Central Intelligence Agency is a secret government that may be involved in domestic assassinations. They are a secret government, he said during his program, Ron Paul Liberty Report, on Monday. The CIA is way out of control. Paul said Americans should recognize the corrosive nature of the CIA and what we don't know that they're involved in. He noted that when he was in Washington, there was a black budget. We never knew exactly how much money was spent, that I imagine there is not one person that brings it all together. I'm not even sure the president is in charge. That's why I talk about a coup. He added, wow. U.S. muffling opposition voice by secretly liquidating dissidents. What do we got here? NSA controversy. Jimmy Carter says U.S. has no functioning democracy. I think I posted this one too. Former U.S. President Jimmy Carter is so concerned about the NSA spying scandal that he thinks it has essentially resulted in a suspension of American democracy. America does not at the moment have a functioning democracy, he said at an event in Atlanta on Tuesday, sponsored by the Atlantic Brook, a private nonprofit association working to further the German-U.S. relationship. The association's name is German for Atlantic Bridge. I probably didn't even pronounce that right. Atlantic Brook. I don't speak German. Carter's remarks didn't appear in the American mainstream press, but were reported from Atlanta by the German news magazine Der Spiegel, whose Washington correspondent Gregor Peter Schmitz said on Twitter he was present at the event. The story doesn't appear in the English language section of the Spiegel website and is only available in German. Go figure, right? Oh, check this out. I read this one, but check it out. I'll read it real quick. This is a letter that's in response to a person talking about this. Check this out. We are writing to advise you on our ongoing work and plans for the next meeting of the Presidential Commission for the Study of Bioethical Issues. We appreciate the time that you have taken to engage with us. We would like to clarify for your information that the Commission is not investigating or reviewing any concerns or complaints concerning claims about targeted individuals. This includes claims concerning MKUltra, COINTELPRO, electromagnetic torture or attacks, organized stalking, remote influencing, microwave harassment, covert harassment, and surveillance, human trafficking, psychotropic weapons, and radio frequency or military weapons or other claims. As such, the Commission will not hear further testimony on these subjects. Many of these issues have been investigated in the past. The Commission is not a law enforcement, regulatory, or legislative body. It does not control any federal monies. In addition, the Commission has no involvement with the public or private grants and has no power to open or undertake criminal cases. As advised to the President, we will ensure that all of your concerns, information, and testimony are provided to the White House. We sincerely appreciate your interest in the work of the Commission and the time you have taken to share your personal history with us. See that? And this was dated on July 27th, 2011. So going on 24 years ago, just about. Almost 24 years ago. I'm sorry, not 24. 14. 14 years ago. I didn't play this one. I have no idea. Let's see. Mind control victims testify at Presidential Commission for the Study of Bioethical Issues. 49 minutes. I think I'll let that one pass. Galina Helen Cardina asks Prime Minister of Canada to stop mind control programs. 4:55. Yeah, we can check that one out. If it plays.
Dear Prime Minister Stephen Harper, we ask you to help many people in Canada who are being affected unjustly without their informed consent by psychotronic or mind-controlled weapons. We are addressing to you on behalf of Canadian Organization of Victims of Psychotronic Weapons. We and many others are being tortured and mutilated in a mind-controlled concentration camp 24 hours every day. We wouldn't be tortured and manipulated in a properly functioning legal society. Victims of psychotronic weapons detail the most extreme violations of human rights in history, including the most horrendous incidences of psychological torture, mental and physical mutilations. Criminals place human subject under continuous surveillance, no matter where he or she is. They monitor human brain, including thoughts, reactions, motor commands, auditory events, and visual images. They continuously alter consciousness, introduce voices, noises, other disturbances, commands, images, and dreams into the brain. They directly abuse, torture, and hid bodies from remote locations. The technology they are using is so advanced that it allows the controller to see through the eyes of the targeted individual, essentially seeing whatever the victim sees. These are some of symptoms of targeted individuals: microwave hearing and torture with intense, loud electronic sounding noise, visual disturbances, visual hallucinations, manipulation of will, emotions, feelings, perceptions, manipulation of human behavior, forced speech, involuntary body movements, transmission of specific commands into the subconscious, compulsory execution of these commands, reading thoughts remotely, retrieving memories, implanting personalities, debilitation of mental acuity, inability to concentrate, disruption of ability to think rationally and independently, loss of memory and knowledge, inadequate states which targeted individuals have never ever experienced before, states of narcotic intoxication, depression, obsessive desires, and so on. Control of sleep patterns, sleep deprivation or uncontrollable sleep, and other symptoms. We have contacted police, RCMP, intelligence services, courts, and other government institutions over and over and over again, but have had our appeals for assistance and protection almost completely ignored or suppressed. Government doing nothing in this situation is a form of sanctioning these horrendous fascist experiments with psych on innocent and defenseless people. That is why Canadian government is responsible for these crimes. Canadian government must uphold the rule of national, international, and human rights law and protect Canadian citizens and immigrants by these laws. Instead, we see the huge disconnect between its professed principles and the reality. It is our responsibility to record and alert the world to these horrendous crimes and the extreme danger that these technologies pose to democracy, human rights, privacy, mental and physical freedom, health of all people. Doctors Mengele, who studied developing these techniques in concentration camps during World War II, were brought over here from Europe after the war to continue their atrocities. MK Ultra was the first of these illegal and immoral experiments with unwilling victims, were the latest victims. This must stop, and the responsible people exposed and brought to justice for these unspeakable crimes against humanity. We demand only that human rights are respected, and the Canadian government appoints a committee to get to the bottom of this most serious matter. This gross violation of human rights must be investigated immediately.
Amen to that. Check this out. This is a pretty crazy title. U.S. Army Intelligence Officer. Gang stalking phenomenon is precursor to coming Holocaust.
interest. And also, I have a guest who's never given a radio interview
Wow,
before. Her name is
44
Julian
minutes.
McKinney.
Which would include the inducement of auditory input, and it would appear that those being targeted are simply objects who I see as ultimately being disposable. In other words, I think that once full control is established over a major percentage of the population, and enough of the population is silenced and unwilling to stick their necks out, that we inevitably would be heading toward a Holocaust.
The question if I was, for example, let's say we have a person who suspects, and let's just for hypothetical purposes say this person is being targeted, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, tell our listeners, because I've always wondered this myself, okay, I'm sitting in my house, and I see around me there's telephone poles, there may be a tower in the distance that I don't see that handles the cell phones. There's, of course, a grid of electric going on around me. I've talked to people, and I try to say, how does this get into your house? And I wanted to get your opinion on if a person is targeted, how basically are they beginning to intrude their premises and violate their constitutional rights, not only their rights of, not only trespassing on their property. Go ahead. How would that happen?
Now, are you talking about how would the frequencies impact upon them, and how would they first become aware of it, or how would they first become aware of the fact that their privacy has been violated?
Well, no, I guess I didn't explain the question right. I guess I wanted to know how they physically are doing it. I mean, are they using a cell tower? Are they using a truck that's in the distance? How is this being transmitted into the home to target the person and to use this weaponry on them from your experience?
Good question.
Well, first of all, in order to target a person, you have to be able to see that person. And while they may not be able to, they may, on entering the house, have implanted miniature cameras, miniature microphones as a means of further monitoring the person, but that is not necessarily the means by which they home in on a person. There are plenty of technologies that allow for the imaging of a person who might be sitting in a chair, as you mentioned you might be. Using infrared imagery techniques, for example, they can capture your image by monitoring the concentration of heat emanating from your body using certain acoustical frequencies. They can detect mass. And using sophisticated computer software, they can convert those images to likenesses on computers, which conceivably could be used in a software program that would be connected to an electronic weapons system. And in that context, I should point out that while devices draw on the existing power grid, and while yes, indeed, they do involve microwave towers. Sounds like you've got a commercial coming on.
Yeah, we do. And thank you for making my...
All right. Let's see what it says here. Apparently, this is the only known interview by Julianne McKinney, a former Army intelligence officer who has labored to expose electronic harassment and mind control torture of many, many thousands of victims worldwide. I think it's in the millions by now. Investigative journalist Greg Szymanski comments that after an extensive career in U.S. Army intelligence as an area intelligence officer, on return to civilian life, Julianne McKinney became a member of the Association of National Security Alumni, an organization of former intelligence officers dedicated to exposing I've never seen that word before. SSs by the U.S. intelligence services. You see that word? ESCESSES. Not sure how to say that one. Here we go. Appointed as director of the Electronic Surveillance Project in 1991, Julianne authored the publication Microwave Harassment and Mind Control Experimentation, still recognized today as one of the most authoritative documents on the subject. This is 1991, guys. This is crazy. You know they're way more advanced by now. Within the interview, Julianne McKinney makes the frightening observation that the ultimate objective may be to control and choreograph those who are involved in these harassment operations on the dispensing end, and it would appear that those being targeted are simply objects whom I see as ultimately being disposable. In other words, I think that once full control is established over a major percentage of the population, and enough of the population is silenced and unwilling to stick their necks out, we would inevitably be heading towards a Holocaust. Isn't that crazy? I went right to the part of the interview where she said the same thing that I just read. That's crazy. Check this out here. How modern mind control operations work. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, yeah. So these are good, guys. I highly recommend you come over here and you start listening to these. Oh, look at that. I just noticed. Why are those at 0? 0, 0. If I hit play, will it play? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I swear I listened to this today, this morning, and it really was working. I promise. This is all saying 0 now. Let me refresh real quick just to be sure. Because that's kind of weird. Come on. Looks like they're loading. Check it out. Let's see what happens. What in the world? Oh, dude, I messed up by not hitting the download. This was really good. Number 7 was really, really good. Now it's showing 0. It was like 41 minutes. Accusations, scapegoating, and TIs. I didn't listen to that one. Disinformation, I did. Watch, now they're all saying 0. Do you guys see that? It just had a... There was like 30 some minutes on it earlier. Check this out. I think they're actively taking this down right now, guys. You just saw for yourselves. This was displaying time. Let me refresh one more time, or what the heck's going on? Well, I can't refresh because it's still showing the X up here. Well, I guess I could hit stop and then hit refresh one more time. And then let's just go back down. You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, they're all saying 0 now. Oh, look at that. Wait a second, that is so weird. Now look at this. Now the bottom half is actually showing up. Number 7 is showing. Yeah, see, 41 minutes, 28 seconds. That is weird. See how these are showing 0 though? This is bizarre. Well, hopefully all of these are working for you guys. I recommend highly checking out number 7, the program explained. That'll give you some great insight to all you TIs. And to any perps that try getting this website taken down, I just hope the karma slaps you sideways really bad. You deserve it. This is weird though. Earlier on my phone, on the website, this was all working just fine. So, okay, these are just more like podcasts. Or not really podcasts, these are just like. What is this? I'll just read it because this is a little confusing. It says, was Tammy Battaglia also Nicole from the Mind Cemetery podcast? Interestingly, before Tammy's own podcast was taken down from its home at talkshoe.com, the following comment appeared on one of its pages. I have a question about host Tammy. You sure sound like Nicole from Mind Cemetery. Interview with Winter Lake on Monday, April 25th, 2011. Wow, this is all old. I believe the host was Chip. Blah, blah, blah. So what is this all about? Okay, so the comment implied that Tammy might be participating in another podcast in which she was identifying herself as another name, Nicole. I thought that was interesting and looked it up. The Mind Cemetery podcast appears to have been just getting started around the same time period that Tammy and Jeremy were recording the above podcast dealing with targeted individual issues. Disturbingly, Mind Cemetery consistently promotes common disinformation themes such as aliens, remote viewing, and other paranormal phenomena. Even the very chosen name for the podcast should provide the astute observer with a clue about the show's intended effect on its audience. Check this out. It's been my experience that other media promoting disinformation display a similar contempt for their audience. Examples include websites with names like The Truth Control and the Hulu commercials featuring film star Alec Baldwin and Family Star creator Seth MacFarlane, which boast openly about the stupefying effect that the advertised service, in other words, mainstream television's programming, has on its customers. Anyway, Tammy had herself been a guest on Coast to Coast AM, a radio program which promoted the same sorts of disinformation as Mind Cemetery. I'm not going to finish reading the rest of all that, but I found that interesting about Alec Baldwin. I don't know if you guys ever saw that commercial where Alec Baldwin pulls his tongue out of his eye and his tongue out of his mouth and licks his eye like a reptile. Huh? And it's like they've been hinting at this all along for so damn long already, guys. The whole reptilian theme, kind of funky, huh? So it says right here, okay, I guess we're at the end of the homepage. If you find the above materials important, please tell others about this website and save a copy now in case this website goes down for any reason. Some methods may work better than others. You can right-click on this page and click Save, or find Save under the File menu at the top of your browser window. Windows users can print a PDF file using the free Qt PDF program, or back up this entire website using free programs such as WinHTTrack for Windows, SiteSucker for Apple devices. Very good to know. I might have to possibly check this out, but I'm guessing this is going to be gigs and gigs and gigs of information on this website. Please also bookmark this website and check back regularly. This website is designed for careful study and is best experienced on a proper computer rather than a mobile device. How funny, all those audios worked fine on my mobile device, but yet on my computer it's not. If you like this site or have any comments, please let me know. I very much appreciate all feedback. This is a non-commercial website. All websites' costs are paid, yada yada. Okay, I got you. Let's see what this last part is. For behold, the wicked bend the bow. They make ready their arrow upon the string, that they may in darkness shoot at the upright in heart. And here we go to close out, guys. A quote by John Locke. Whenever the legislators endeavor to take away and destroy the property of the people, or to reduce them to slavery under arbitrary power, they put themselves into a state of war with the people, who are thereupon absolved from any farther obedience. Ain't that the truth? Let's see if any of those are still working or not. Boom, 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 boom. No, just number 7 and number 8 are the only ones that have time on them now. Well, I would recommend going to this website. There's the link up there. Highly recommend you go to it and go listen to number 7. Hopefully it's working for you. And you're going to have some great insight. I hope whoever came by and checked it out was, informed or felt informed by my reading of this website. This is just the homepage, guys. Remember, you can click on all these blue links here along the right column. U.S. Army Intelligence, okay, boom, boom, boom. And look at this over here, censored physicians, remember Waco, health scams, Zersetzung.org special presentations, mind control. Oh, look at that, it has a drop-down menu. Special presentations, mind control, are you targeted.com podcast, are you targeted.com articles, TI testimony at 2011 bioethics hearing transcripts, TI testimony at 2011 bioethics hearings videos, publicly known technology videos, and additional MC research documents, the hiddenevil.com salvage yard, and documents from John Finch, aka MC Mail Team. Wow, I haven't even gone to this website yet, guys. I don't even know what's on here just yet. But like I said, it's deep, and there's some good topics. Weaponized psychiatry, masonicmurder.com, which, let me just click on that real quick and show you guys something that I found interesting, because I was checking this out earlier. Sphinxes in Freemasonry. Sphinxes in Freemasonry. The Sphinx image also has been adopted into Masonic architecture. Among the Egyptians, sphinxes were placed at the entrance of the temple to guard the mysteries, by warning those who penetrated within that they should conceal a knowledge of them from the uninitiated. And hence, portal derives from the word from the Hebrew tasfan, to hide. I don't know. I don't read Hebrew. I can't say that. But check this out. U.S. Army Military Intelligence. Look at their logo. It's a sphinx with a skeleton key and a lightning bolt. And look at that. What's guarding the Supreme Council? Is that what it is? The Supreme Council? Or what building is this? The Freemasons in Washington. The Masonic Temple is the headquarters of the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, also called the Supreme Council. Okay, so it is called the Supreme Council. Well, look at that building. Look what's right there. Sphinx. You guys see the Egyptian tie? And I don't know anything really much about Egyptian, isn't it? Or no, yeah, there's like an Egyptian Book of the Dead too, besides the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I've heard that one's got some pretty dark stuff in it. Apparently, even like rituals. Lots of rituals. And let me show you the scroller down here. Look at that. There's a lot on here. Let me show you something else. I found something interesting. Wolves and sheep's clothing. The Fabian Society, whatever that is. But that's their coat of arms. See that right there? It's a wolf that has the sheep with the head. See that? And then check out this picture down here. It says Freemasons also have to wear a very specific kind of clothing. Apparently, it says down here, watch, yeah, the apron is lambskin. It is made of pure white lambskin. Masons wear lambskin clothing. Lambskin or sheep's clothing is an emblem of innocence. Yeah, right. Not for those guys. Check out that picture. That's really what I guess you could say that's what Freemasons really look like. Yikes. What does that say? For God's sake, Trevor, always you with that conspiracy stuff. I'm telling you, the man and the dog are definitely working together. Oh, shucks. Yeah, we already all know about that. I think most of us do. I'm telling you guys, check out this website and you're going to be blown away. And I didn't even know about this. Did you know there's like the Chinese Freemasons? There's an article down here somewhere. Watch. Yeah, check it out. I'll read it real quick just so you can get an idea about it. This is crazy. It says here, investigators have been quietly working on the case. Okay, let me back up. Investigation continues into execution-style murder. Community leader gunned down. San Francisco police searched several Chinatown offices today in their investigation of the execution-style murder of a Chinese community leader. Investigators have been quietly working on the case since the murder almost a month ago. Today's searches in Chinatown were also low profile. Only unmarked police cars outside. Investigators knocked on the doors. They showed the occupants their search warrants and went inside. Police investigators hit 2 locations in Chinatown early this morning, both with ties to the shooting victim, Ellen Leung. Leung was elder of the Hop Sing Tong, one of Chinatown's most powerful fraternal organizations. Inspectors also searched the offices of Chi Kung Tung, the Chinese Freemasons, a group that Leung headed. Get that. Ain't that something? And then check us out. So down here they have the triad oaths and initiations and yada yada. And I was reading through them and check this out. For example, here's the triad oaths. Everything they do, if they do something bad, they're faced with death. Like, check this out. I must never commit any indecent assaults on the wives, sisters, or daughters of my sworn brothers. I shall be killed by 5 thunderbolts if I break this oath. I'm not sure where you're gonna get 5 thunderbolts from, but it says over here. So, okay, lots of these are killed by thunderbolts. Here we go. I shall not disclose the secrets of the Han family, not even to my parents, brothers, or wife. I shall never disclose the secrets for money. I will be killed by myriads of swords if I do so. I think the Freemasons also take a similar oath too, something about they swear to be taken out by sword if they do anything bad against the organization. Ancient craft masonry. Check that out. Ethics and the craft. The history, evolution, and practice of Wiccan ethics. Oh, okay. Freemasonry, a celebration of the craft. You know what? Chances are a lot of these books and titles are something that is probably like required reading for a lot of these Masons. I'm just speculating there, but could be. Which school news? I bet you if you Google that, it'll probably come up with some kind of publication, huh? Story about the Wizard of Oz. What is this? Special issue. Oh, yeah, well, that's right. Ben Franklin was a Freemason. Whoa. I guess that has something to do with some light on the terms red and blue in Freemasonry. Check that out. I guess I'm glad I went through here a little deeper. Red, okay, so there is something behind the red and blue. Maybe there's a chance that the people that are perping us in the red and blue cars are Freemasons. Huh. The Blue Lodge is said to refer to the traditional color of regalia in lodges derived from English or Irish Freemasonry. Although the term, okay, and then it says in English-speaking countries, this is frequently the King James Version of the Bible. The 3 degrees of craft or Blue Lodge Freemasonry, there blah, blah, blah. Okay, what else we got here? Strangers nowhere in the world. It says here, for example, okay, boom, boom, boom. Okay, for example, in Bordeaux, a red lodge was set up and it brought an interest in the Rosicrucianism fermenting in the German-speaking lands. After the start of the revolution in 1789, royalists specifically blamed the red lodges as clubs de la propagande. Huh. Yeah, like I said, guys, this website goes deep. Oh, the website, there it goes, watch. Zersetzung.org. I also posted it in my post section. I believe I did. I know I posted some pictures from there. So I'm just kind of going through it here now to see if I find anything else that. Oh yeah, check that out too with our gang stalking, huh? Red, blue pill. Isn't that something? And that is in the Matrix. And here we go now. Look at this. There's some more red and blue over here. We are all socialists now. It says the perils and promise of the new era of big government. Interesting. There is no gang. It says, see that? It says there is no gang stalking. There is only Zersetzung. This might be worth kind of checking out, to see all these pictures and photos and whatnot, because I'm not guaranteeing it, but I bet you some of these are probably even on the bumper stickers with the vehicles that come around harassing us. There's the red and blue theme again. Check it out. Red in the middle, and then the two blue on the sides, where it kind of looks purplish, huh? Interesting. I'll read this real quick. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain, yeah, okay, it might not, yeah, we know that story. I thought they were going to explain something else. Generations of Adam, okay. Seth and Cain. Oh, okay. Yeah, they do weird stuff like that. I think I heard somewhere else too that in the beginning you're stripped down to your boxers or your underwear, and then they tie a noose around your neck, and then they pull you around like it's a leash while you're blindfolded. And that's part of your initiation to becoming a Freemason. Yeah, the peace sign is the broken cross upside down. Let's see what we got right here real quick. Isis Terror. Isis is a goddess from the polytheistic pantheon of Egypt. She was first worshipped in ancient Egyptian religion, and later her worship spread throughout the Roman Empire and the greater Greco-Roman world. Isis is still widely worshipped by many pagans today in diverse religious contexts, including a number of distinct pagan religions. The modern goddess movement and interfaith organizations such as the Fellowship of Isis. Isis was worshipped as the ideal mother and wife, as well as the patroness of nature and magic. She was the friend of slaves, sinners, artisans, and the downtrodden, but she also listened to the prayers of the wealthy, maidens, aristocrats, and rulers. I don't know. And then here we go. Let's see what this connection is. Islamic State. ISIS, Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, also known as ISIL, Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, is a Sunni jihadist group with a particularly violent ideology that calls itself a caliphate and claims religious authority over all Muslims. It was inspired by Al-Qaeda, but later publicly expelled from it. RAND, R-A-N-D, terrorism experts have analyzed the group's financing, management, and organization, its savvy use of social media for recruitment and fundraising, and the instability that spawned the group as a regional problem in the Middle East. Huh. Oh, check this out. Man killed during initiation at Masonic Lodge. A man was killed during a Masonic initiation ceremony when another member fired a gun loaded with real bullets instead of the expected blanks and shot him in the face, police said Tuesday. That must have been a good dose of karma for someone, huh? Oh yeah, I've heard about that. You get put in a casket too and reborn. I've heard. Yeah, they're freaks, freaks and creeps. Lemon. Apparently, there's something to do with lemons there. Cool. Well, I'm gonna get going, guys. I need to take a shower and get ready for tomorrow. But hope you all enjoyed, and I'm gonna come back on here and have to backtrack and check out some other sections. And if something else really catches my attention, I'm gonna go ahead and come on live again and present it. But or read it. I'm not really presenting. I'm more so just reading. But as we go along, with things pop up in my mind, I'll speak my mind. Or if you want to say something in the chat, feel free to speak up in there as well too, and we can talk about certain topics as I'm reading, or as something comes up in your mind of something that I'm reading. But for now, y'all have a good night. Take care. No fear. And like I read earlier in this live, these people are gonna be abandoned once they're considered useless. So their time's coming. Don't worry. The perps are gonna get their karma, guys. Just be patient. Hang in there as best you can. All right. Peace and good night, y'all.